All right, we're here to demonstrate the BMW software. A little different for me, but I'll give you guys a little tour before, give you an idea of what's going on. First of all, we're just going to do some coding today. We're not going to mess with IMPA at all. We're just going to be using um, NCS Expert. And the way that this works is it's pretty straightforward. You have something called modules, which is basically just a euphemism for various ECUs on the car. These are connected by something called the CAN bus, the CAN, C-A-N, CAN bus, which is essentially just a serial multi-master bus, which any of the various modules can become bus master at any time. So they basically just share the bus on the car, and it's a serial bus. The OBD connector, which I have connected right here, becomes a device on that bus and is allowed to communicate with it. And that's what we're doing here. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let me see. Maybe if I turn this off, maybe that's a little better. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Basically, the way that this works is the NCS Expert reads a particular ECU, and then it outputs in a batch format all of the parameters from that ECU to something called a trace file. And that trace file is right, I don't know if that's focusing or not. I know this is terrible. Trace file is right there. Okay? See if I can put on, maybe these lights will help out. Trace file is right there. Both of these files are both of the FSW underscore PSW files. There's a man file and a trace file. Both of them have zero contents right now, as you can tell. Basically, what the NCS Expert does is it reads the parameters and it outputs it to a trace file. Then we input that trace file into NCS Dummy, which allows us to set the various parameters, in this case arguments, then write them back to a man file, which is right there. Then we use NCS Expert again to basically write the contents from that man file back to the ECU in a batch format. So that's what we're going to be doing. I have never done this before, so if I screw the car up, it's just the way it's going to be. But anyway, so this is kind of going through it. Basically, the first thing we want to do is make sure our communications channel is fine. So we start IMPA. Now you notice we do have communications, but we don't have the ignition or the battery turned on. We don't have any power, and we need those to make this work. So we switch the key on. Don't start the engine. Battery and ignition are on. And we just get out of IMPA. We just can close it now. Okay. Next we start NCS Expert. And we have to load in a profile. So we get rid, let's just minimize that. The profile we're going to load in is going to be NCS Dummy profile. Okay. Now, we then go here, which is, let me see if I can get that to focus, which is basically going to allow us to get our VIN, as well as the various modules that are present from just a default module. It's going to read our VIN from there. So then we can use that to then determine what modules are present on the car. So we click here. We choose E46, which is what the car is. We choose the first module here, which is the one we're going to read from, and we wait a second. Now you notice it's filled in everything that we need. Okay. Now, we then go back and notice what it says. These are all the various modules. I don't even know if that's focusing or not. Let's see. That might be a little better. These are the various modules it's going to read. The only one we're interested in is GM5. So we want to get rid of these other modules. Okay. Also, the Coden, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's all in German. The Codedatenlesen basically means code data set read. That's read. Now, if it said SG or Serge Shoden or something like that, I mean, there's another, that would be writing the data set. The reason that we loaded the NC Dummy profile is because basically it's a kind of a fail-safe. It loads at default that it basically reads rather than writing. Okay? So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to change the job. Let's see. We're going to do process ECU. And we're only going to choose the GM5 option. That's all we want. Get coded. And we want the GM5 option. And that's it. And that's what we'd have on our screen. Again, I don't know how cloudy it is. I hope it's coming through all right. Again, if anybody has any questions, just, leave a comment. All right. So that's what we have there. I'm going to hold on a second, get everything set up. All right, so I'm back. I'm ready to do the execution now. Basically, all you do is just hit execute. The coding is ended. We go into this file here, the trace file. Now you notice it's 7 kilobytes, where I think it was 60 bytes before when I started NCS Expert. I had cleared it out before, so it's 7. So it's written, written it perfectly. We're going to open it up just to show what it looks like. And these are everything in German of the various options. That active means it's active. Nicht active means not active. Now what we would do if we did this manually is we'd edit this with the text editor, then move it over to the man file, then basically run the NCS Expert again and upload the data into the module. But instead, we're going to use NCS Dummy, which allows us to do it a little more user-friendly. So what we do is we get rid of all of this. We minimize the NCS Expert, and we go to NCS Dummy. We then open up, we're using, let's see, the first coding module. And let's see. And we pick the trace file. So we'll use the second one. So you have to pick which module. There's like a template. And if you get an error down here, well, then you just change until there's no more errors. All right, so basically we have it. These are the different parameters that we can go through. And I'm going to go off a second and set which ones I want and then come back. All right, well, I pretty much have picked whatever I want. I mean, there's really not anything too exclusive to pick here. I just kind of changed a couple of things, like for example, being able to roll the windows down and up with the remote control. This is really just kind of a demonstration. So anyway, what you do is then you go to export right here, okay? And you export it to the man file, which it just did. We then can close this. Okay. And let's make sure that our file is still there. So we go to NCS Expert, Work Directory, and where's our man file? There's our man file, okay? So all we have to do then is just get rid of this, bring back up NCS Expert, which is here. All right, we changed the job to write, which is basically what I was telling you before, the SG codon. Okay, and then we execute the job. And if you notice, it said coding active and then coding ended. So that should be it. So then all we do is we get out of here and we cycle the car, turn it off. And everything should be okay. Let me go try it and I'll be back in a second. All right, well, here I am outside of the car, and I'm going to demonstrate this to you all. This is unlocking it, basically, and then you hold the remote. And you notice both the windows are going down. Okay? Then you lock it, hold it, the lock position, and both windows are going up. So the coding was successful. I hope you all have enjoyed it. The next time I'm going to run IMPA and show some lambda sensor and roughness figures and kind of basically show the ECU, or the DME is what it's called on BMW, which is associated with engine parameters. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.